I love your rant, and I want to add a few things to it. I mean, your comment on the words versus images brought back for me the line that I liked the book a lot more than the movie because the colors were more vivid. That it's this mental creation, and I was just reading. I just finished a book that I know is on your to read list, and it was in the book Proust was a neuroscientist, and how Cézanne's final evolution was having unfinished works, because indeed the viewer completes the cycle. And one thing that we were talking about, and you've started to do in Marks and Meaning, and I haven't really started to do in Working Smarter, this one, is directly incorporating reader contributions, reader notes, reader hot buttons and attitudes. So it's less of the conceit of a single author and a meeting of minds. And I think that really starts to change the game entirely. Publishers won't get that one because they won't know where to send the royalty checks.
A lot of authors don't get it either because I've heard from people who said, well, that's great but for a how-to book, but fiction won't work that way. And I'm going to reserve any comment on whether it'll work for fiction or not. But certainly I believe for a book that's about a community of practice, a book that's about ways of working and doing things, I do believe that a collaborative effort, with a number of people, the book itself, it provides a focal point. It provides it's like a rock or a foundation that you can build a house on. It doesn't have to be the house itself. The conversation, a conversation with no anchor can have a tendency to meander all over the place. But with a book as an anchor, which has a purpose, and this purpose of this book is pretty large, marks and meaning. How marks translate into meaning, how we use marks to make meaning and communicate and think with collaboratively. It's a big enough subject that it does require an anchor, or it will meander all over the place. And it requires a curator, which I see myself as somewhat of an author and a curator of a community, to say, okay, well, what are the pieces that are important? What are the things that are relevant?
Coming back to the incompleteness theorem of books, because I get the same thing. I got my new one on What Would Andrew Do, which is about quantifying, measuring, and making apparent the value of learning initiatives in business organizations. And the idea is you've got to convince Andrew Carnegie it's a good idea, and then you can run all the damn numbers you please. If you've convinced the top guy that he should spend money on this, well, you're far there. But people were saying, well, no, I'm going to wait till it's complete. Well, complete, I think, is sort of a conceit in nonfiction because it can always be better. And why would you slam the door? Publishers do. Why do we want to slam the door and say, well, we're not going to make any improvements, we're not going to change the original? Now, actually, in the Proust was a neuroscientist. Proust wrote pretty heady stuff, but it was fiction. And he rewrote In Search of Lost Time many, many, many times because he was never satisfied.
I think there's a place for both. I think there's a place for both, Jay. I think that I've done books that are written, finished, edited. I don't necessarily. There's a difference between a movie and a making of the movie. And I think that I think that an edited, curated, published book that is a finished product is a wonderful thing, and I think that. I like to read those. It's a structured thing. It's a finished thing. It's something you read, you learn from. There's also things that are unfinished. I see it as like the difference maybe between a house and a park, or a garden. A house is something that is structured. It's built. It's it may be that you're moving things around and adjusting things, but it's a finished, complete object, maybe a sculpture. It's an object that's finished. A garden is constantly being weeded and tended, and you come in the spring and it's different than the place you went in the fall. And a park is something, a park or a garden it's something you come back to, and you don't expect it to be the same, but you want some things to be the same. And so what I'm enjoying about this Marks and Meaning project is this idea that starting with a bare plot of land, so to speak, and starting to put some greenery in there and a few trees and a rock or whatever, and then the next version comes out and there's a lake and a fountain and some sculptures, and it's starting to evolve. And doesn't mean that you don't want to go back to the first one. And one advantage that these things have, and one of the reasons I have kept the early ones available, is because I think it can, there's a bunch of stuff that I eliminated from the first version that's not in the second version at all, and in fact some things that people really enjoyed and really liked. So I think there's I don't think that things that that I don't think that there's, it's a both and, I guess. I don't think that a nonfiction book is something that should never be finished. I think that there are definitely great advantages to having books that are well structured, and that if you want to go in and you learn something or read something, I think that's great. But I think there's another kind of a thing that wasn't possible before, and now, because it's possible, I think and Jay and I in a way are astronauts, right? We're explorers. We're not
space cadets.
Yeah, but we're interested in we're interested in exploring new territory. And what I find fascinating about this Unbook territory is that it enables us for the first time to combine a physical object book with a digital online community in a way that it was never possible before. Because these, with print on demand, you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to make books available to people. When someone orders a book, it's printed and it's shipped to them. And so, a book can now be available every day of its building can be available to people.
Question: what do you charge for this?
I think it's $25.
And what do you charge for this?
Well, that one was $25, but when the new one came out, I reduced the price. I don't remember what it is now.
Okay, but that's the idea, that the price will go down on the older versions in all likelihood.
Yeah. And become more and more accessible over time. And there may be a version of this that I want to do in color, and it may be more expensive or less expensive. I think that these things are it's just like a garden. I like the metaphor of something that's alive and growing. That you don't always know what you're going to get. And a magazine, it's going to be different every month. A book, it's going to be the same forever, or they have that idea that it's going to be the same forever. An unbook is in between.
Yeah.
An unbook is it's not different every time like a magazine, but it's different enough every time that it's worth a visit. And what do you pay to go to the national park or a zoo? Maybe $10. What do you pay to visit an unbook? Once every 6 months, $25. I mean, I had someone say, I think that's $25 is a lot of money for a lot of risk to take for an unfinished product. And I thought to myself, wow, you don't really understand risk, because $25 for me on a product or on an experience is really not much of a risk at all.
No, and one idea can pay for the party 50 times over. I mean, geez.
So
well, Unbooks may or may not end at some point. Works of fiction may or may not end, but just due to how long you can watch, this videotape is going to end. It's been a lot of fun, and see us on Unbook.com, theunbook.com. Sorry, theunbook.com. Bye for now,
everybody.